Look at our modern world of asphalt and concrete. We pride ourselves on our technological superiority, yet our most advanced highways begin to crumble under the weight of traffic and weather in less than half a human lifetime. Potholes emerge, foundations crack, and maintenance becomes a never-ending cycle of cost and frustration. Now turn your gaze across the vast continents of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Beneath the overgrowth of centuries, through the biting frost of the Alps and the scorching heat of the Sahara, there lies a ghost, a skeleton of stone and grit that has defied time itself. These are the Roman roads. Built 2 millennia ago, many of them are still usable today, forming the very foundation of modern European transport routes. This is not merely a story of stones and dust. It is a chronicle of a civilization that refused to build for a season, choosing instead to build for eternity. How did an ancient people, without electricity or heavy machinery, construct a network of 50,000 miles of paved road that could withstand the march of iron-shod legions and the relentless passage of 2,000 winters? The answer lies in a meticulous system of engineering that turned the very earth into an unbreakable weapon of expansion and stability. This is the journey into the heart of Roman engineering excellence and the legacy of the eternal empire. Before a single shovel struck the earth, the Romans conquered the landscape with mathematics. The empire demanded efficiency, and efficiency demanded the straightest line possible between 2 points. To achieve this, specialized engineers known as agrimensores were deployed to the frontiers. Their primary weapon was the Groma. This simple yet profound instrument consisted of a vertical staff supporting a horizontal crosspiece from which 4 plumb lines hung. By aligning these lines, the Romans could survey perfect right angles and project straight lines over miles of treacherous terrain. They did not bow to nature. If a forest stood in the way, it was cleared. If a marsh threatened to swallow the path, it was drained or built upon on massive timber pilings. The Roman road was a visual declaration of dominance, a straight scar across the earth that signaled to all that Rome had arrived and was never leaving. They measured distances with incredible accuracy, marking every mile with massive stone pillars that told the traveller exactly how far they were from the golden milestone in the Forum. This precision ensured that reinforcements could be moved with surgical speed, making the empire's response to rebellion or invasion faster than anything the world had ever seen. The road was the first step in turning a wild wilderness into a Roman province, bringing the light of civilization to the furthest corners of the known world. The construction of a Roman road was an act of war against the soft earth. It began with the fossa, a deep trench excavated until the builders reached solid bedrock or a firm subsoil. If no firm ground was found, they drove wooden stakes deep into the earth to stabilize the base. The first true layer of the road was the statumen. This layer consisted of large hand-sized stones, often held together with mortar or squeezed so tightly that they became a single immovable mass. This was the foundation of everything. It had to be thick enough to support the immense weight of oxen, wagons, and thousands of soldiers in heavy armor. The labor was primarily performed by the legionaries themselves during times of peace. For a Roman soldier, the spade was just as important as the sword. This kept the troops disciplined and physically fit, while ensuring that the infrastructure of the empire was built by men who understood the value of a solid line. The statumen acted as the skeleton, distributing the weight of the traffic deep into the earth and preventing the road from sinking into the mud during the heavy rains of winter. In these deep trenches, the Romans were burying the secrets of their longevity, layer by painstaking layer, ensuring that no amount of pressure could buckle the path they were laying down for their descendants. It was a foundation built on the sweat of the world's most disciplined army. On top of the massive statumen came the layers that provided flexibility and strength, the rudus
and the nucleus. This is where the Romans revealed their greatest secret, hydraulic cement. By mixing volcanic ash, known as pozzolana, with lime and rubble, they created a material that did not just dry, it chemically bonded even underwater. The rudus was a thick layer of smaller stones and broken pottery mixed with this lime mortar. It was rammed down with heavy wooden beaters until it was compact and level. Above the rudus sat the nucleus, a finer layer of sand, grit, and cement. This layer was the secret to the road's resilience. It acted as a shock absorber. When the heavy wheels of a supply wagon passed over, the nucleus allowed for tiny amounts of movement without cracking the entire structure. Modern roads are often too rigid or too soft, but the Roman multi-layered system provided a perfect balance. This ancient concrete was so durable that even today, archaeologists struggle to break it with modern pneumatic drills. This material was not just used for roads, it built the Pantheon and the Colosseum, but here, beneath the feet of the common traveller, it served its most vital purpose. It made the empire mobile. It turned seasons that were once impassable due to mud into a year-round highway for trade, ideas, and the word of the emperor. The road was a living thing, breathing with the landscape, yet harder than the rock it was built upon. This was the core of the Roman miracle, a testament to a deep understanding of geology and chemistry that would be lost to the Western world for nearly 1,000 years after the fall of the empire. The final visible stage was the pavimentum, the skin of the road. This layer was composed of large, flat, polygonal stones, usually basalt or local hard rock. These stones were fitted together with such incredible precision that a knife blade could often not be inserted between the joints. But the genius was not just in the fitting, it was in the shape. Roman roads were never perfectly flat. They were built with a slight curve, known as a camber. This meant the center of the road was higher than the edges. When the torrential rains of the Mediterranean or the damp mists of Britain fell, the water would naturally run off the sides and into deep drainage ditches, or crepidines, running parallel to the path. By keeping the foundation dry, the Romans prevented the most common cause of road failure, water erosion. They also added elevated sidewalks for pedestrians and stepping stones at intersections so people could cross the street without stepping into the waste or water of the gutters. Every detail was considered, from the height of the curbs to the placement of mounting blocks for horsemen. The pavimentum was a masterpiece of urban planning and functional art. It was designed to provide a smooth, fast surface for the imperial post, allowing messages to travel up to 50 miles a day. When a Roman official looked out over a freshly paved road, he wasn't just looking at a way to get from point A to point B, he was looking at the ultimate victory of human order over the chaos of the natural world. As the centuries passed, these roads became more than just infrastructure. They became the veins and arteries of a massive living organism. It was said that all roads lead to Rome, and for 1,000 years, this was a literal truth. These paths allowed for the first truly globalized economy, where silk from China, spices from India, and grain from Egypt could flow into the heart of Italy. They allowed for the rapid spread of language, law, and eventually a new religion that would reshape the world. But more importantly, the roads represented the Roman psychological grip on their subjects. To see a Roman road was to see the power of the state made manifest in stone. Even after the legions had marched away and the empire had crumbled into the dust of history, the roads remained. The barbarians who conquered Rome used these roads to build their own kingdoms. In the Middle Ages, they were often the only reliable paths through a fractured and dangerous landscape. Today, if you look at a map of modern Europe, the major highways almost perfectly overlay the routes designed by those ancient engineers 2,000 years ago. We are still walking in their footsteps. The Roman road was more than a construction project.
It was a legacy of durability over disposability. It challenges our modern world to think beyond the immediate horizon and build things that will stand for the ages. Every stone, every layer of concrete, and every perfectly surveyed straight line tells a story of ambition that reached for the stars while keeping its feet firmly planted on the ground. The Romans are gone, but their journey continues every time someone travels the paths they paved into eternity.